put into place a permanent financing to which the city will not be party. There are two alternatives before you this afternoon. One, the governing body may approve the ordinance to enter into a deposit account pledge and security agreement between the City of Garden City and Dream First Bank, or two, the governing body may deny the request and the ordinance. Staff recommends the governing body approve the ordinance as presented. The fiscal note related to this item is that the city would be providing collateral for the construction loan, while the city would be identifying existing idle funds in CDs to serve as the collateral. It is necessary for the city to expense this money at the time of loan closing and then subsequently treat the return of the collateral as income when the loan is satisfied. Accrued interest in the meantime would continue to be a general fund income as it is with all idle fund CDs. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have a member of the development team here and available if you've got any questions for them as well.
Any questions for Danielle or the development team on this?
So the anticipated payback of the $1 million funds or the recouping of the funds will be what? How long?
They're moving on they've already broken ground and they've already started vertical construction. They're anticipated to wrap up with the project in middle of 2026. I don't know if Mr. Hannigan has any more detailed timeline to that. I don't want to get ahead of you in what I've seen.
Yeah, so that it would be through construction, and then at the end of construction, we will convert from construction loan to permanent financing. And at time of conversion into permanent financing, that would be the time to repay this loan. And permanent financing would carry the entire project. It would take roughly 12 months of construction, which we're a month or two in. And there would be some need to get the units leased up before we could convert to permanent financing. So we're estimating 18 months.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That sounds good. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
I move that we approve ordinance number 3039, 2025.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
All right, we go back in order. We're ready for 6B. The governing body is asked to consider a request from Dan Fankhauser and Jerry Valdez on behalf of the property owner Lifelong Fitness LLC to waive Section 18-10D of the Code of Ordinances and Section 24.060 of the Garden City zoning regulations for 102 North 11th Street.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Dan Fankhauser and Jerry Valdez, on behalf of the property owner Lifelong Fitness LLC, are requesting a waiver of the sidewalk installation requirement of Section 18-10B of the Code of Ordinances and the physical fitness facility minimum parking requirement of Section 24.060 of the zoning regulations for the property generally located at 102 North 11th Street. The property is zoned I-1 Light Industrial District, and the property owner was granted a conditional use permit by the Garden City Board of Zoning Appeals in July 2025 to operate a physical fitness facility. The Garden City zoning regulations require that when a new business takes over a property, it must conform to the current zoning regulations, Code of Ordinances, and Building Code. Because this property was previously a furniture store, Dan Fankhauser submitted the site and building plans to Neighborhood and Development Services for review. During the review of the site plan, it was identified that based on the building plans, a sidewalk along 11th Street and additional parking stalls must be installed. Section 18-10B of the Code of Ordinances does not permit the issuance of a building permit with a valuation over $35,000 unless sidewalks are installed in accordance with city specifications. Dan Fankhauser and the property owner estimated that the building permit valuation will exceed $35,000 and as a result requires installation along 11th Street. There is currently a sidewalk along Fulton Street that does not require any work at this time. The requirement in the Code of Ordinances to install sidewalks for projects valued at over $35,000 serves to improve the city's network connectivity and increase public safety while being mindful of physical barriers to the property owners by requiring installation concurrent with other construction work. This sidewalk would continue to ensure that the city's pedestrian network is completed incrementally and separates pedestrians from vehicular traffic. A review of the properties surrounding this one found established sidewalks along the adjacent properties to the north, west, and south. While a gap exists immediately to the east, the network resumes shortly after, indicating a clear pattern of sidewalk infrastructure in this area. Installing a sidewalk along 11th Street would provide a direct connection to the residential areas surrounding this property and to its neighbors to the south. Attached to this memo is Figure 1, which highlights the existing sidewalk within approximately 0.2 miles. Additionally, this redevelopment requirement is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which references sidewalk connectivity several times, including in the Parks and Open Space Policy 1.1 and Transportation Policy 6.2. As a result, granting a waiver would interrupt progress towards establishing a complete sidewalk network in this neighborhood and would be inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. The zoning regulations require that a physical fitness facility provide at least one space for every 200 square feet of gross floor area, plus one space for each employee. Based on the building's plan's footprint, the property owner intends to use only the building's first floor, converting approximately 11,900 square feet into a physical fitness facility. Based on that square footage and the number of employees, they must provide at least 60 parking stalls on the property. During the site plan process, Dan Fankhauser drafted a parking lot with only 41 parking stalls, including converting the dirt area along the north property line into parking stalls. When the applicant applied for a conditional use permit in July 2025, staff included the minimum parking requirement for gyms, estimating that the applicant may need at least 70 parking stalls based on the building size. At that time, staff conducted a preliminary calculation and believed that the existing paved and unpaved areas would be sufficient to accommodate at least 70 stalls, which was also noted in the conditional use permit's staff report. After an official site plan was submitted, the city engineer confirmed the results by conducting a site capacity review, which demonstrated that the property's existing dimensions are sufficient to accommodate approximately 61 stalls and meet the minimum parking requirements of the zoning regulations. The zoning regulations parking calculation of one space for every 200 square feet plus one space for each employee is supported by best engineering practices. Using calculations from the Institute of Transportation Engineers Parking Generation Manual, which calculates average parking requirements based on national code studies, the property would be required to install 60 to 85 parking stalls. Therefore, because this site has been verified to support the necessary parking stalls, the code requirement aligns with best engineering practices, and this requirement was presented to the applicant before they purchased the property. Staff conclude there is no hardship needing a reduction in parking. Staff are unaware of any recent similar requests to waive the sidewalk permit or the minimum parking standards considered by the governing body. If the request is approved, staff will work with the city attorney's office to prepare an ordinance outlining the specific sections waived, which would be brought before the governing body once again for approval. There are 4 alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve the request to waive the sidewalk requirement of Section 18-10D of the Code of Ordinances and the physical fitness facility minimum parking requirements of Section 24.060 of the zoning regulations. 2, the governing body may approve the request to waive the sidewalk requirement and deny the request to waive the minimum parking requirement. 3, the governing body may approve the request to waive the parking requirement and deny the request of the sidewalk requirement. And 4, the governing body may deny both waived requests. And staff recommends the governing body deny both waived requests. Dan Fankhauser and the property owner are here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Any questions?
Did they indicate the reason they wanted to waive the sidewalk requirement? Was it simply because of cost or just because of the amount of the area?
I believe so. That's what they discussed with us, is the cost of the sidewalk.
So if it's waived, then basically you could never hold them to putting a sidewalk in. Is that what you're saying? If you waive it through through an ordinance, then we would never be able to hold them accountable for, or any business for putting a sidewalk in. Is that what you're saying?
For this, I think it would depend on what you as the governing body decide. If you want to waive it at this specific instance of a building permit and allow for the future business, if there's one at this property, I think that piece should left up to you, and we could specify it in the ordinance.
And my last question is, so would they qualify for, I know we have sidewalk funds available, would they qualify for any sidewalk funds that they could use? Is it no interest? Is it no interest loan for the sidewalk funds, or because they're commercial business? I didn't know if that was just residential or if it was also commercial.
I don't know for sure. That's not a program that
I think Mike can answer that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Commissioner, the sidewalk program that the city of Garden City has is for residential.
Only?
Not
Sorry.
commercial, yeah. Now, for a driveway, that we do have funds for a driveway that covers under commercial, but not the sidewalk.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So my question is, so on our packet, it says that the engineer said that there's space for 60 parking lot stalls, 61 parking lot stalls. Then when I look at Mr. Fankhauser's drawing, I kind of struggle visualizing how those parking lot stalls would fit 61. Could you kind of explain how that would, what exactly what it would look like essentially? Because I was wondering if it's going to block out one of the two entrances, or if that was kind of the plan, or how exactly it would fit.
From what we had discussed, it would not impact the either two entrances.
Okay.
The city engineer, in my understanding, went with a different layout than what Dan has proposed, which would reorientate some of those southern parking stalls to the other direction, and then put additional ones along the dirt that is towards the north of the property line. So it's just a different layout that our city engineer used to calculate that capacity would be.
And then on the sidewalk, just want to make sure I'm correct. So directly to the south, there is no sidewalk because that's where the railroad crossing is. Then it would be the city substation, city parks building, but then after that, there's no more sidewalk, correct?
So yes, correct. Directly south is the railroad tracks, and then further south than that, I believe, is the Parks Building, where there is sidewalk along that frontage.
And then it would be housing that has no sidewalk.
Correct, directly south, that would be housing without sidewalk.
And then to the north, it would be sidewalks for about a block, and then no more sidewalks after that block.
Correct, for that block right after the one directly north, there's no sidewalks, and then further north, I believe that there is sidewalk again.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I mean, I do believe a sidewalk. I mean, I think having a fitness facility in that area is going to be incredible. I do think sidewalks, add the additional ability to be able to get to the fitness facility. I mean, the parking, I understand it's a come and go. When you're in the fitness, you have peak times, and I think only when the peak time. But having sidewalks in that area, I think would really greatly enhance the availability to walk through the site. And I also think it would also encourage that whole area to begin to build sidewalks. And I know that's an important part of our community. So, I mean, I'm leaning toward waiving the parking requirements, but not the sidewalk, I mean, just to be transparent, so.
I think to kind of follow along the guidelines of our comprehensive plan, though, your parking is there. It's just a different way of laying out the parking lot line. So to me, that's kind of a easy fix. The sidewalks, however, I'm in agreement with, if we need to do something, especially in this area, that's connectivity to all of the city. And I know we get a bunch of pushback from the community members on we don't do anything on the west side of town,
Right, yeah.
So it's not our choice. I mean, we do give choice for citizens to come to the city commission and ask for waivers like this, but I feel like this is a strong need to keep that in place for future accessibility to people coming and going to that facility. So to me, I'd rather put the sidewalk in for connectivity purposes.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item then.
So I'm not sure which one of the alternatives. So I would like to approve the request to waive the minimum parking requirements, but deny the request to waive the sidewalk requirements. I think it's option 3, if I'm correct.
That's,
So approve the
So-
request to waive the physical fitness facility minimum parking requirements of section 24.060 of the zoning regulations, and deny the waiver request of the sidewalk requirements of section 18-10D of the Code of Ordinances for the property generally located at 102 North 11th, with the caveat I'm excited about a new business in that area, so.
So you're waiving both?
No, just the one.
Well, you said to deny the waiver.
Deny the,
Okay, I
deny the
got it.
waiver of the request for the sidewalks.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you're
that was
good.
a very complicated.
So there's a motion, is there a second to that motion?
Wait, hold on. We might need to repeat that, because I heard it two ways now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
waive the minimum parking requirements and deny the waiver of the sidewalk. And that's number 3, option 3.
I second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you.
Item 6C, the governing body is asked to consider a request from Dan Fankhauser and Virginia Ramirez for a waiver of Section 18-10D of the Code of Ordinances for 701 East Fulton Street.
Dan Fankhauser and Virginia Ramirez are requesting a waiver of the sidewalk installation requirement of the Code of Ordinances. This property is zoned C2 General Commercial District, and the building is used for auto glass and general repair. The property owner intends to demolish the awning west of the existing building and replace it with a garage. This work requires plans from a design professional, which Dan Fankhauser has submitted to Neighborhood and Development Services for review. During the review process, staff identified that the garage would require a setback variance from the west property line, to which the Garden City Board of Zoning Appeals will consider in January. Additionally, it was identified that there is no sidewalk along North 2nd Street. Section 18-10B of the Code of Ordinances does not permit the issuance of a building permit with a valuation over $35,000 unless sidewalks are installed in accordance with city specifications. Dan Fankhauser and the property owner estimated that the building permit valuation will exceed $35,000 and as a result requires installation along North 2nd Street. There is currently a sidewalk along Fulton Street that does not require any work at this time. This requirement in the Code of Ordinances serves to improve the city's network connectivity and increase public safety while being mindful of physical barriers. This sidewalk would continue to ensure that the city's pedestrian network is completed and separates pedestrians from vehicular traffic. A review of the property surrounding this one found established sidewalks on the adjacent properties to the north, west, and east. While a block gap exists further north and to the south, the network resumes shortly after, indicating a clear pattern of sidewalk infrastructure in this area. Installing a sidewalk along 2nd Street would provide a direct connection between the residential areas to the north and the businesses along Fulton Street. Attached to the memo is Figure 1, which highlights the existing sidewalk within approximately 0.2 miles. Additionally, this redevelopment requirement is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which references sidewalk connectivity several times. As a result, granting a waiver would interrupt progress towards establishing a complete sidewalk network in this neighborhood and would be inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. Prior to today, staff are unaware of any recent similar requests considered by the governing body. If the request is approved, staff will work with the city attorney's office to prepare an ordinance, which will come before you at a later date. There are 2 alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve the request to waive the sidewalk requirement of Section 18-10B of the Code of Ordinances for the property located at 701 East Fulton Street, or 2, the governing body may deny the waiver request. And staff recommends that the governing body deny the waiver request. Dan is still here, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions?
So the sidewalks on the south, those were those part of the sidewalks that were redone back in 2018, I think?
When they redid Fulton
What's that?
Street?
When they did, when they redid Fulton Street.
Well, I can't remember the year, but it's,
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that project. I didn't say that.
But, I mean, there's sidewalk there.
Correct, yes.
I mean, I'm excited about a new business, and I mean, obviously, I mean, she's going to be successful, so, but again, this idea of sidewalks, I think not only do they increase the betterment, they're also in their city plan, and it's also an idea of safety, so for me, sidewalks are something I would hate to waive, so.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make the motion to deny the request.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7 is report of the city manager. We have a number of staff reports. Do you have any questions on any of those? I'd be happy to try to answer those.
A lot of good information. There's a lot of good information on the goals section, but I'll highlight employments again. We're over 30,000, so we'll see what December brings us.
And that's even before
Definitely.
Christmas, so.
Yeah. So fly local, please. Any questions or other comments? All right. Meetings of note.
Yeah, meetings of note is filling up.
I know they have moved the chamber breakfast. I got a notice on that from the Clarion to the refinery.
Yeah, the
so.
December 17th one on ours says the Clarion Inn, but that's tomorrow morning, and that is actually at the refinery. All right, any of those requiring RSVPs, if you'll get in touch with the city clerk's office, be great. Item 9 is the appropriation ordinance. If approved, the appropriate motion would be to approve appropriation ordinance number 2601-2025A.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 2601-2025A.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Is there any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you. Item 10A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a resolution of the City of Garden City, Kansas, authorizing the execution of the amendment number 1 to the power purchase agreement, Grand River Dam Authority Power Supply Project number 2, between the City of Garden City, Kansas, and the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency. Mike?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. On December 14th, 2024, the governing body passed resolution number 2145-2024, authorizing the execution of a power supply agreement with the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency for 9,000 kilowatts of capacity and related energy from the Grand River Dam Authority, GRDA. This agreement did not require any transmission study system improvements to deliver the power to Garden City. At this time, an additional 6,000 kW was available to the city from GRDA. However, a transmission impact study would be required to determine if any transmission system improvements were to be needed to wheel the power to the city. The governing body directed staff to complete the necessary study and report back after the results had been obtained. KMEA, on behalf of the city, submitted a transmission impact study to the Southwest Power Pool in January of 2025, and in November 2025, KMEA was notified by the SPP that no transmission system improvements would be necessary for the additional 6,000 kW to be delivered to the city of Garden City. This resolution, if approved by the governing body today, would amend the power purchase agreement between the city and KMEA for an additional 6,000 kW of capacity and energy from GRDA for a total of 15,000 kW, and the length of that is from May 1st, 2026 through April 30th of 2051. The alternative is the governing body may approve the resolution as presented, or the governing body may choose not to approve the resolution as presented. Staff recommends that the governing body would approve this resolution as presented, and there's no fiscal impact to this particular resolution. I'm happy to stand for questions.
Any questions? What's the resolution number on this one?
3213.
3213? Okay. Any questions for Mike? No questions? Entertain a motion on Resolution 3213-2025.
I move to approve resolution number 3213-2025.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
That item is a close cousin to item 12D. While it's fresh in our mind, do we want to skip over?
Yeah, let's go to 12D.
So the governing body is asked to consider and approve amendment number 1 to purchase power agreement, Grand River Dam Authority Power Supply Project number 2, between the City of Garden City, Kansas, and the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency. Mike?
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, the language in your memo is exactly the same as the previous one I just read. So I won't do that. I'll save a little bit of time. The alternatives are the governing body may authorize the mayor to sign this amendment number 1 to the power purchase agreement, or the governing body may choose to not authorize the mayor to sign this amendment. Staff would recommend that the governing body authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 1 to the power purchase agreement with Grand River Dam River Authority. And the fiscal impact to the electric department budget under wholesale electric, it is expected to increase by $1,313,000 starting in May of 2026. The amount approved by the governing body for our 2026 electrical department budget is $17,500,000. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on that contract.
Any questions for Mike? Entertain a motion on this item.
Move that we authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 1 to the power purchase agreement.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, let's go back to 10C.
And I'm going to do a numbers check with Corey. The resolution that we have passed in 10A, I have down as resolution number 3213-2025. Okay, that would make, well, not yet. 10B is a joint resolution. Those are unnumbered between the Board of County Commissioners of Finney County and the City of Garden City, adopting the First Amendment of the immediate urban growth area of Finney County. Danielle.
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. The governing body and Board of County Commissioners entered into an interlocal cooperative agreement on November 5th, 2024 that established the rules and responsibilities related to planning and zoning services for the city and county. Additionally, this agreement established an immediate urban growth area. At the November 17th, 2025 Board of County Commission meeting, the Board of County Commissioners expressed interest in expanding the immediate urban growth area to accommodate continued growth and annexations along Highway 156 and East Kansas Avenue. The joint resolution must be adopted by both governing bodies to take effect. The Board of County Commissioners did consider and approve this joint resolution at their December 15th, 2025 meeting. There are 2 alternatives before you this afternoon. The first, the governing body may adopt the joint resolution expanding the immediate urban growth area, or 2, the governing body may not adopt the joint resolution expanding the immediate urban growth area and provide staff with alternative direction. Staff recommends the governing body approve the joint resolution as presented, and there is no fiscal impact. And for your packet, we've also included the map of what would be included in that immediate urban growth boundary. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Danielle?
So when the agreement was decided so I know there was a joint task force meeting that decided these boundaries, and this is just an expansion of those?
Yeah, so we had originally in our agreement that we signed, we had an original immediate urban growth boundary. In that agreement, we indicated that every year we would take a look at what that boundary would look like. And so this year, with some anticipated growth that we've had or some of the annexations that we've had, the county was interested in expanding that urban growth boundary a little bit more. And so that's what you're seeing.
Right.
That's what you're seeing here today. Yep.
There wasn't a task force or anything
No.
associated.
Okay.
This
It just
is
was a meeting.
effectively the county's request to have us have the planning and inspections for any change in use or any development go through our office and be constructed to the city's code designs rather than the county's code design. That's their intent with this urban growth area.
Which I appreciate that, because I think it's a wise decision, but yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that we need to maintain the county roads up until those properties are developed
Right.
and incorporated into the city.
That's
Well,
Correct.
until,
That's the one thing,
until the city limits moves out to
Right,
that
yeah,
area.
because you can see the city limits, clearly marked, but I'm like you,
Yes.
we don't want any additional.
But this was part of the agreement that we had for the neighborhood development.
Right,
Agreement
yeah.
between the county and the city when the two departments when we created two
Separated,
departments instead of one, so. Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I move to adopt the joint resolution expanding the immediate urban growth area.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Item 10C. The governing body is asked to consider and approve a resolution declaring the boundary of the city of Garden City as of January 1, 2026. And if approved, this would be resolution number 3213-2025.
1-4, because we just did 1-3 on
I'm
10A.
sorry. Correct.
Okay,
3214-2025.
all right.
Kansas state statute requires when a city has either annexed or excluded territory from city limits, the governing body by resolution must declare the entire boundary of the city. The city must adopt this resolution by December 31st, 2025. This action has come before the governing body due to the annexation of properties known as the Kansas State University Extension Center, city utility stations, and other privately owned land. Attached is a map showing the new areas annexed into the city limits. And there are two alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve the attached resolution, or two, the governing body may not approve the attached resolution. And staff recommends the governing body approve the attached resolution. And there is no fiscal impact to the city by approving the attached resolution. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I move that we approve resolution number 3214-2025.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
We completed 10B earlier, so we're ready for 12A. We completed 12D earlier, so we're ready, or 10D earlier, so we're ready for 12A. The governing body is asked to consider and approve year-end transfers from the general fund to the capital improvement reserve for selected 2025 programs, capital projects, and equipment purchases not completed by year's end. Jared.
Good afternoon. City departments operate on an annual budget that is approved in September for the upcoming year. These budgets include projects, equipment, and program expenses which relate to those departments. If these expenditures are not completed in the current budget year, the funds set aside would become an unanticipated cash carryover heading into the next year. Due to unforeseen circumstances, there are times when departments are unable to complete what has been set out for them nearly 18 months earlier. It is recognized that these projects, programs, and capital are an important part of the department's budget, so instead of waiting for another budget cycle, the commission has the opportunity each year to consider a transfer of the money into the capital improvement reserve fund. From here, it can be spent for its intended purpose in a subsequent year. The attached schedule of transfers is proposed for 2025. The alternatives before you are today are that you may approve transferring the funds from the current year to the capital improvement reserve as presented. The governing body may approve transferring the funds from the current year to the capital improvement reserve with modifications to what is presented, or the governing body may not approve the transfer of the funds. And staff recommends the governing body approve transferring from the current year to the capital improvement reserve as presented. As a fiscal note, the 2025 transfers from the general fund total $758,150. I'm happy to answer any questions, especially if you have particular questions about anything transferred.
Any questions for Jared? Entertain a motion on this item.
I move that we approve the transferring of the funds from the current year to the capital improvement reserve as presented.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 12B. The governing body is asked to consider and approve 2026 property and liability insurance coverage for the city of Garden City, Kansas. The city currently has property and liability insurance coverage provided through Travelers Insurance with Agent Brokers Pro Value Insurance that expires December 31st, 2025. The city retained independent third-party insurance consultant James Charlesworth to assist in the renewal for 2026, which the city has done since 2002. Through consultation with Mr. Charlesworth, the city opens its renewal process up to competitive bids. This occurs on average every 2 to 5 years, depending on the market. The city last went out for proposals for the insurance year 2025. This year, the city received 3 proposals. They're in the chart below. The agencies across the top, broker agencies across the top, Pro Value Insurance proposed a traveler's insurance policy, as shown below, total value $1,460,368. ICI, the agent in column 2, proposed EMC as the underwriter. Total cost of that premium, $1,201,686. Gallagher proposed Chubb, but only proposed 2 categories, the property and the inland marine. There's a subtotal of that, but it's not really an apples-to-apples comparison. There could be the possibility of a hybrid if the commission were to choose the traveler's policy brokered by Pro Value for everything but property, inland marine, and then substituted in the Gallagher property and inland marine. That has been subtotaled, or that has been totaled in the chart below as $1,262,852. The detail and analysis of the 2026 proposals by James Charlesworth is attached for the governing body review. The proposals are not identical in the coverage provided. The material difference in the actual cost of certain claims would depend on the scope and nature of those claims. But in general, however, each proposal has some strengths and weaknesses in its coverage. Based on premium price alone, the lowest cost proposal is from EMC, serviced by local agency ICI at $1,201,686. The second lowest proposal would be the hybrid of the traveler's insurance proposal through local agency Pro Value and substituting their property and inland marine policy for Chubb's proposal serviced by a non-local agency Gallagher. That total premium cost is $1,262,852. The highest premium is the full traveler's policy renewal by local agency Pro Value at $1.4 million. Alternatives are the governing body may approve the bid from EMC through local agency ICI for the price previously mentioned. That's a remnant piece. The traveler's piece at in the second sentence of that alternative should be ignored. That's a remnant piece. Alternative 2, the governing body may approve the bid from travelers through local agency Pro Value with the exception of the property and inland marine coverage, which would be awarded to Chubb through Gallagher for a total premium of $1,262,852. Alternative 3, the governing body may approve the bid from travelers through local agency Pro Value for the total premium amount of $1,462,368. Or item 4, the governing body may reject the proposals and provide alternative direction. Staff recommends the governing body approve the bid from EMC through local agency ICI in the total premium amount of $1,201,686. Fiscal note, the premium for the insurance policy that's concluding was $1,252,408. The proposals for this year approximately 16% higher than 2025, the incumbent policy, I should say. In this year's budgeting cycle, departments were advised to budget for a 25% increase in costs, anticipating a rise in premium and actually premium increase that has been reflected in the past 3 or 4 years, which there's another table in Mr. Charlesworth's attachment that gives you a little bit more detail. So with that, if you have any questions, James is here.
Wow.
I could have had you read that.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it. That's right, yeah. Now you'll read your memo. No,
that was a long one.
It's a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
please, if you have questions, I would especially encourage you, if you have questions in the difference in policy coverage. James can best describe that to you. And some of these answers are going to be "it depends," but he could characterize those "it depends" questions and answers better than certainly I could. James, do you have anything to add? And
No, Matt, you did a fantastic job. I think really the primary differences in the programs is really the wind-hail deductible for property. Our current deductible is 3% of the affected building value with a minimum of $250,000 per occurrence. The Gallagher option through Chubb is a 2% with a $100,000 minimum, and the EMC is a flat $250,000. So the depends mention that Matt had is if we have affected properties of under 12.5 million in one event, the $100,000 deductible is going to be better for us. If it's over that, then the 250 is better for us. You're not a huge community. Hailstorms, windstorms can be quite sizable, so it is plausible to have multiple locations damaged in one event, but I can't predict the weather or the weather's path. Besides that, the programs are all excellent. I have nothing really to say negative about any of them. I will say Travelers has been a valued partner for the city for many, many years. They are probably the gold standard for insurance of cities this size and above. EMC equally has a long-standing history of municipality insurance. They have declined in the past because of your size, but they have opened up their eyes that this might be a good size of a community to begin insuring. So the other thing that is not mentioned in the report is that EMC does provide a dividend program. It's not guaranteed, but over the last 5 years, the dividends have ranged anywhere from 8.5% to 11.8% of your premium as a return dividend. That's not guaranteed. That's based on their overall profitability of the EMC book of business. You really can't make a bad decision. It's a financial one. But if there's any details you want me to discuss, I'm happy to do so.
So as far as our claims, I appreciate it. I think, the insurance company is only as good as their claims department, anytime you have that. So the EMC, since we don't have a lot of history with them, so can you comment just a little bit on their claims process and how your experience with them paying claims and the ease of being able to file claims is?
Sure. The claim process can be very similar to now. Reported through your agent, ICI, then reported to EMC. EMC will sign an adjuster and contact the city, and I'll go forward. As far as the history, to be blunt and honest with you, most of the cities that have EMC are smaller than cities I typically work for. So I don't personally have a lot of experience. However, they have a very good reputation. So I've never heard anything negative, but I personally have not worked for them a whole lot.
No, I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
How important is the rating? Just looking at that piece, the A++ through Pro Value and the ICI with an A, 14. Does those play a pretty significant role in making these decisions?
Once you get into the Bs, that's when you've got a challenge. I would rate, A++ is obviously as good as it gets. Anything A- or better, considered excellent. I don't. In the size 14 versus 15, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in reserves and capability. I wouldn't consider that excellent.
Did our fire department or a new addition of a new station, did that make any difference in the premiums, or did they indicate that?
I don't think it changed your ISO ratings, but it's something I'd have to check into. It doesn't hurt, that's for sure.
No, that's, yeah.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I move that we approve the bid from EMC through the local insurance agency, ICI, in the total premium amount of $1,201,686. Alternative 1.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Any discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you very
Mayor,
much.
if I could just make one comment?
Yes.
I want to acknowledge Sealand and staff for all the work they did on this. It's a lot of work. Also, the agents for their hard work on this, as well as Belinda from Pro Value for her years of service to the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 12C. The governing body is asked to consider and approve the 2026 community grant and art grant applications.
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. The Community Health Advisory Board and the Arts Grant Committee are responsible for reviewing grant applications and recommending award amounts from the social funding line item to the City Commission. With the 2026 grant cycle rapidly approaching, CHAB has updated the community grant application and evaluation criteria as attached. The CHAB developed these formal evaluation criteria to ensure applicants receive transparent and consistent consideration throughout the review process. The requirements are organized into 5 broader topics, which each board member will use to score how well the applicant meets the stated expectations. Staff will then total these points to provide a comprehensive summary of all the applications for the board's use. The criteria template will be made available online with the grant application. Once the governing body approves these applications, staff will push them online and begin accepting submissions. The application deadline is January 23rd, 2026. The Community Health Advisory Board and Arts Grant Committee are scheduled to review the applications and provide their funding recommendations in February. These recommendations, along with the agency's application and CHAB's detailed evaluation scoring, are planned to be presented to the City Commission for final approval in March of 2026. Following the grant award, the recipients will be required to submit reports detailing the use of funds by December 31st of 2026. There are 2 alternatives before you. 1, the governing body may approve the 2026 community grant and art grant applications, or 2, the governing body may not approve those applications and provide staff with alternative direction. Staff recommends the governing body approve the 2026 community grant and art grant applications. And the fiscal note associated with this item is that the City Commission has already budgeted $21,400 in social funding for 2026. That it will be $21,400 for the community grant and $6,900 for the art grant. And the Community Health Advisory Board and the art grant will provide the City Commission with award recommendations in early 2026, with no distribution decisions being asked of you at this time. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Danielle?
Only a comment. I know that, the evaluation is really important and it creates a lot of transparency. I do like it when they include any type of feedback, whether, I think it's always really valuable because comments, when they make these applications, I know people work really hard on them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when the committee makes recommendations or they have that feedback, I think it'd be good to include it. But again, I think that's something that, it just would be valuable for the commission to help make a clean-cut decision, so.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I move that we approve the 2026 community grant and art grant application.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've done item 12D, so we're ready for 12E. The governing body is asked to consider the Garden City Electric Department to be the electric service provider for 2 properties annexed into the boundaries of the city of Garden City by ordinance number 3027-2025 and ordinance number 3030-2025. Mike.
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. On October 16th, 2025, the governing body annexed real property into the city boundaries with ordinance number 3027-2025, which was the south half of the Mary Street right-of-way situated immediately north of Chapel Heights residential subdivision. Again, on November 4th, 2025, the governing body annexed real property into the city boundaries with ordinance number 3030-2025, known as the Lewis Substation, an electrical substation owned by the city of Garden City, located at 2840 North VFW Road. Both properties, which were annexed into the city, were within the certificated territory of the retail electric supplier, specifically Wheaton Electric Cooperative Incorporated. Pursuant to KSA, the state statute KSA 66-1:176, the city has an obligation to negotiate for the issuance of a franchise agreement pursuant to KSA 12-2001 with Wheatland, since Wheatland is the retail electric supplier holding a certificate within the annexed area. On December 1, 2025, Mr. Jim McVeigh, Assistant General Manager and General Counsel to Wheaton Electric, notified the city via an email to me, Mike Muirhead, Director of Public Works and Utilities, that Wheatland would not be requesting a franchise agreement to serve the property annexed into the city ordinance by city ordinance number 3027-2025. And in addition, on November 26, 2025, Mr. Jim McVeigh, Assistant General Manager and General Counsel to Wheaton Electric, also notified the city via an email to Mike Muirhead, Director of Public Works and Utilities, that Wheatland would not be requesting a franchise agreement to serve the property annexed into the city by ordinance number 3030-2025. Again, pursuant to KSA 66-1:176, the city is obligated to pay Wheaton Electric for the expense of retiring Wheaton facilities on the property, as well as twice the previous 12 months' annual revenue. There are no existing electrical services being served by Wheatland on either of the properties that were annexed into the city. Therefore, the city is not required to compensate Wheaton Electric for services it is not currently providing. However, KSA 166-1:176 requires the governing body to consider a minimum of 11 factors when making the selection of the electric service provider. These factors are, but not limited to, the following: A, public convenience and necessity; B, rates of various suppliers; C, desires of the customer or customers to be served; E, economic development of the suppliers; E, economic impact to the customers of the suppliers; F, the supplier's operational ability to serve the annexed area; G, avoiding the wasteful duplication of facilities; H, avoiding unnecessary encumbrances on the landscape; I, preventing the waste of materials and natural resources; J, proposals from any retail electric supplier holding a certificate in the annexed area; and K, whether the selection is in the public interest as it relates to all the factors considered by the city. If it's okay, Mr. Mayor and Commissioner, I will not read all of the factors because that Wheaton Electric chose not to have a franchise, so there's no need to compare the two. I will get to the end, the alternatives. The governing body may further discuss alternative number 1. The governing body may further discuss the 11 factors and consider findings of fact and conclusions about selecting a retail electric supplier at a subsequent meeting. Or alternative 2, the governing body may choose to ask for additional information for consideration to make the selection of an electric service provider. Staff recommends that the governing body further discuss the 11 factors and consider the findings of fact and conclusions regarding the selection of a retail electric supplier at a subsequent meeting. Under the fiscal note, if the Garden City Electric Department or another provider is selected to serve the property, pursuant to KSA 66-1:176, 8.5% of gross electrical energy sales revenue obtained from the property will be paid to Wheaton Electric on an annual basis for a period of 10 years. After 10 years, the payment to Wheaton Electric will automatically stop. And with all of that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mike on this item?
So it's not based upon the amount during the time of the annexation. So if there are organizations or businesses or whatever, then we have to actually pay Wheatlands or whoever we'd have to actually pay them something. Right now, we pay them nothing because there's nothing there.
There's nothing there, so we don't have to pay the 2 times the 2 years lost revenue.
Okay.
Anything that would be built on these properties over the course of the next 10 years.
Then you would.
any gross revenues, we would have to pay 8.5%.
Okay, I was hoping it was an
One of
annexation.
them is a road and the other one is a substation.
Okay,
But
yeah.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item then.
I'll make the motion that the governing body further discuss the 11 factors and consider the findings and the facts and conclusions regarding the selection of a retail electric supplier at a subsequent meeting.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Item 12F. Item 12F, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the First Amendment to the Finney County Law Enforcement Occupancy Agreement between the City of Garden City, Finney County, and the Sheriff of Finney County.
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. On October 15th, 2024, the City Commission approved an occupancy agreement between the City of Garden City, Finney County, and the Finney County Sheriff for use of the existing law enforcement center. The intent of the agreement was to serve as a temporary agreement while the city identified an alternative location for the Garden City Police Department, while the county went through the process of planning for a new jail and remodeling the existing law enforcement center. Since that time, a location for the Garden City Police Department has been identified at 1210 Fleming Street, and through modifications to the project, that space will also accommodate the Finney County Sheriff's Office to allow both departments to continue to co-locate in the same building to the extent possible. The original agreement anticipated that the Garden City Police Department would vacate the existing law enforcement center by December 31st of 2025. While significant progress has been made in the past year, it is anticipated that the Garden City Police Department will need to continue to locate in the existing law enforcement center for another 10 to 12 months. The amendment allows for the Garden City Police Department and Finney County to continue to operate under the Finney County Law Enforcement Center occupancy agreement dated September 12th of 2000, with most recent amendments being July 5th of 2016, until December 31st of 2026. This will maintain the status quo for an additional year while the remodel of 1210 Fleming is completed. The agreement is another example of the continued partnership between the Garden City Police Department and Finney County Sheriff's Office to identify opportunities to work together on this complex and difficult challenge. The Board of County Commissioners did consider and approved this agreement at their meeting yesterday morning. There are 2 alternatives before you. 1, the governing body may approve the First Amendment to the Finney County Law Enforcement Occupancy Agreement between the City of Garden City, Finney County, and the Sheriff of Finney County, or 2, the governing body may not approve the First Amendment to that agreement. Staff recommends approval of the First Amendment. Fiscal note associated with this is that we will maintain the status quo for an additional year, and the cost will continue to be paid for out of the Garden City Police Department operating budget. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions for Danielle on this item?
So on the agreement, underneath the number 2, the term, it indicates that it shall be a period of 3 years to commence on the first day of January 26 and end on the 31st day of December 2028. Is this a 3-year agreement or is this a 1-year agreement extension?
The term of the agreement shall be for a period of 1 year to commence on the first day of January 2026 and end on the 31st day of December 2026. This does allow us to renew should we need to do that. And I don't know, Jennifer, if you want to add anything else to that.
No, other than Karen and I, the idea behind this was we were trying to make it as simple as possible without creating a third agreement for the period of time, and we both landed on this was the easiest and cleanest way to do it. And then depending on what happens next, if we have to create something else, we will. But we thought at the time that this will be sufficient until we move out of where we are and we move into the temporary facility, and then cover us during the temporary facility.
So the term just basically covers us if we needed to extend further. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
That's just because when you read the memo, it just indicates that it's a year term. So I wanted to make sure that that's pointed out, that we have an agreement with them and the understanding that it could be extended within this agreement. Okay, thank you.
Yes, correct, absolutely.
And this agreement is just based on the Garden City Police Department moving our location, is that correct?
That is correct. So we anticipate the completion of that happening in the next 10 months or so, giving us a couple months then to move all of the
Everything over.
things and all of those additional things that kind of come with that. So the goal will still be to be out of the existing law enforcement center by the end of next year. And the intent is for the Finney County Sheriff's Office to be able to make that move with us. They're going to be doing the remodel to that entire building. But for the purposes of this, as soon as we get out of that, the existing law enforcement center, we'll kind of move to that agreement that we originally had in place about a year ago.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item then.
I move to approve the First Amendment to the Finney County Law Enforcement Occupancy Agreement between the City of Garden City, Finney County, and the Sheriff of Finney County.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you. Item 12G, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the bid for the East Side Pedestrian Improvements Project. Mike?
Good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. I'd like to invite Adam Sharp to come up. Adam is he serves as a city engineer with Wilson and Company. Adam did a tremendous amount of work for this big project that covers pedestrians and sidewalks on the east side of Garden City, along with Tyler Patterson, the Public Works Operation Manager, and obtaining the necessary right-of-way, et cetera, that was needed. So if it's okay with you, I've asked Adam if he would present this, since he did all the work, and if you have any questions, he'd be happy to answer them.
We'll put him in the hot seat.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. So in October of 2022, the governing body approved a grant application to the Kansas Department of Transportation's cost share program for this East Side Pedestrian Improvement Project. The project consists of significant pedestrian sidewalk pathway extensions connecting the Tally Trail down at the college, across the bypass, up Jenny Barker Road, down Spruce Street, up Jenny Barker Road, and ultimately connecting with the Kansas Avenue Trail, extending the Kansas Avenue Trail, and connecting to the Chapel Heights neighborhood. There are some maps attached to the agenda item as well. KDOT awarded the city's $1.5 million request, maximum available through that program, and issued a notice to proceed in October of 2023. The project was, we went through design and everything, the right-of-way acquisition, and then the project was advertised for construction bids on October 16th of 2025, and bids were opened November 19th, right before Thanksgiving. 2 bids were received from Lee Construction of Garden City and Michael Isaac of Ulysses. So you can see the bid amounts there. Lee Construction, $2,688,147. Michael Isaac, $3,062,196 and change. And then our engineer's estimate at bid opening was $2,722,000. In reviewing the bids, Michael Isaac's bid was found to be non-responsive for failure to meet the bid security requirements, or bid bond, as we often call it. So therefore, Lee Construction's bid is the only responsive qualified bid. The original total project budget was set at $3,655,000, utilizing the $1.5 million KDOT grant and $2,155,000 of city funds. Below in the memo is an updated estimated project budget breakdown based on that bid and the current estimates of the other project costs. So we have the bid at just under $2.7 million, design at $417,000, construction engineering at $129,000, which is actually the next agenda item. Preliminary work, we ended up doing some actual physical work out there, kind of ahead of the project. Came in at $61,800. Right away, mostly wrapped up, and that should come in around $120,400. And then some utility relocation and hookup work for $35,000. So, kind of skip over the contingency. Based on our original budget of that $3,655,000, that leaves $203,653 basically kind of left over in our budget for contingency, which amounts to 5.9%. Typically, when we bring a bid to you with a budget, we try to hold at least 5%. For unknowns that come up in construction and whatnot. And so we're just a little bit above that, which is a good place to be. Once awarded, the project is scheduled to start between March 1st and June 1st of next year and will be complete within approximately 7 months. So the alternatives before you are to award the bid of Lee Construction for $2,688,147 and authorize the mayor to execute the construction agreement upon receipt of the required bonds and other documentation. Or you cannot approve the responsive bid received and provide us with other direction. Our recommendation is that the governing body award the bid of Lee Construction for $2,688,147 and authorize the mayor to execute the construction agreement upon receipt of the required bonds and other documents. Fiscal note, the cost for this agreement will come from the GI code shown there. The city will issue general obligation bonds to cover the city's portion of the project. The city's funds will be used to fund it, and then it'll be a reimbursement where we request those funds back from KDOT. And I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions?
It's a great project.
Yep. Entertain a motion on this item then.
I move that we award the bid to Lee Construction Incorporated for $2,688,147 and authorize the mayor to execute the construction agreement upon receipt of the required bonds and other documentation.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Item 12H, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the East Side Pedestrian Improvements CRS task order with Wilson and Company. Mike.
Yep, good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. In October of 2022, the governing body approved the grant application to K Department of Transportation, the cost share program for the East Side Pedestrian Improvements. The project consisted of significant pedestrian sidewalk pathway extensions connecting Tally Trail to USAB 350-400 bypass, up Jenny Barker Road, connecting to the Kansas Avenue Trail and Chapel Heights neighborhood. KDOT awarded the city $1.5 million requested and issued a notice to proceed in October of 2023. Construction bids were opened November 19th, 2025, Lee Construction being the low bidder. The commission just awarded that bid to Lee Construction. Staff intends to utilize the city's in-house public works infrastructure inspector for a majority of the day-to-day inspection and contractor oversight duties. A task order with Wilson and Company has been prepared to provide construction-related engineering services, including professional engineering oversight of the inspector, submittal reviews, site views, KDOT coordination, and construction contract administration. Wilson and Company will also provide the day-to-day inspection services for the pedestrian bridge portions of the project, which there are two. The task order for this is $128,560. The amount is based upon the assumed schedule for the bridge construction of the whole larger project. So your alternatives today are approved task order number GC 25-009 with Wilson and Company for the East Side Pedestrian CRS services in the amount of $128,560.46, or do not approve the task order and provide staff different direction. Staff recommends governing body approve that task order as presented. Fiscal note, the cost for this agreement come from the same GL code that Adam spoke about, which is the city had issued general obligations bond to cover the city's portion of this project. And the city funds will be used to fund the project, and reimbursements will be submitted to KDOT for their commitment to get the $1.5 million back. And I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Any questions for Mike? Oh,
So
go
the
ahead.
fee type, the cost plus net fee, that means there's no cap, correct? I mean, we can go over that number?
We could if we had to, but you're just approving the $128,560, so if there's a change order, we'll have to bring that back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my next question. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I move to approve task order GC 25-009 with Wilson and Company for East Side Pedestrian CRS services in an amount of $128,560.46.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Item 12I, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a notice of acceptance for the infrastructure for Chapel Heights, 5th edition.
Good
Hey, Trent.
afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Before you today, for your consideration, is the acceptance of infrastructure for the Chapel Heights 5th edition. Chapel Heights 5th edition LLC has completed the construction of their infrastructure on November 18th of 2025. The infrastructure was inspected by the City of Garden City to ensure that the work was done in accordance with the requirements of the city and the development agreement. Maintenance of the improvements required the subdivider/developer to maintain all required public improvements in the subdivision until the improvements are accepted by the governing body. The subdivider/developer is required to maintain the infrastructure for 1 year before the City of Garden City takes over the maintenance of the infrastructure. The notice of acceptance is the city to acknowledge the completion of the infrastructure. This will start the 1-year maintenance period before the city takes over ongoing maintenance responsibilities for the infrastructure. Alternative number 1, the governing body may approve the notice of acceptance for Chapel Heights 5th edition. Alternative number 2, the governing body may not approve the notice of acceptance Chapel Heights 5th edition and provide staff with an alternative direction. Staff's recommendations, the governing body approve the notice of acceptance for Chapel Heights 5th edition. In the fiscal note, the ongoing maintenance responsibilities that occur after the year maintenance period will be incorporated into the city's operating budget for street maintenance.
Any questions for Trent?
No, I did want to say thank you to John Chappell for continuing to build in Garden City, and please build many, many more. But I want to approve the notice of acceptance from Chapel Heights 5th edition.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
12J, the governing body is asked to consider a request from John Chappell regarding maintenance of stormwater detention pond located at the entrance of Chapel Heights. Danielle?
Good afternoon, one more time, Mayor and Commissioners. Mr. John Chappell has requested that Tract 1 of the attached map is maintained by the City of Garden City. It currently serves as a stormwater solution for a portion of the subdivision. The current agreement between the city and the developers indicate that this area is to be maintained by the developer. This area has served as open green space for the development since being built out and is often used for recreational purposes. If the governing body is willing to take over maintenance of the space, the city will begin to mow and take over those mowing and maintenance responsibilities. There is not anticipated to be additional amenities added to the site. However, it may be possible as a practice location for some recreational programming. There are other areas in the subdivision that the city is already responsible to maintain per the development agreements, and those are denoted in green on the map that is attached. And I want to just clarify that when we talk about maintenance responsibilities, it's to maintain and to mow that area. So it's related to the mowing maintenance. It's not related to how it functions from a stormwater perspective. If there are improvements that needed to be made for it to function appropriately as a stormwater solution, that would still fall to the developer to do that portion of it. We're really just talking about mowing that space to allow it to be used for recreational purposes. So 2 alternatives before you. The governing body may approve the request from Mr. Chappell and direct staff to begin mowing Tract 1 of Chapel Heights. Or 2, the governing body may not approve the request from Mr. Chappell. Staff has no recommendation. The fiscal note associated with this is that there would be staff costs associated with mowing of this area, and that would fall to our Parks and Recreation staff. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Have we done this before is this something brand new, or is this something that we've done before? I can't remember if we've ever done it, but.
So we are already out at Chapel Heights maintaining a portion of that property. So they've got quite a bit of green space that goes with the trail along Mary Street.
But I'm saying for any other subdivision that's been built, have we done this same?
For a stormwater?
Right, as far as the maintenance like this?
I would say no. Most of the other stormwaters are built with steeper walls.
Oh, okay.
This one took up a lot more square footage. They and made it shallower so that there could kind of be a value add to it as a green space,
okay,
rather than some that may have block or tapered walls where they get their cubic feet in or their volume through depth. This one got its volume through breadth of space. Now, it's kind of a mixed bag around town. The subdivisions that would have drainage solutions that have a city role, and those that are the private developer's responsibility. I would say most of the modern ones, it is the private developer's responsibility to maintain the functionality of the storm sewer, but that if there's also any overgrowth or something like that, that they would take care of that. Some of the walls are, though, like concrete or block, right, and so they don't grow. But this one's a little bit more like like Halloran Park, which is a drainage area, and in a storm event, it's going to have substantial. It'll have standing water in a storm event, even with grass area, but it'll be quickly evaporated out.
Because I know we denied a request from a commercial development, but that was commercial. Mm-hmm. So I just want to make sure that we weren't, saying no to one person and saying yes. And I mean, I appreciate that there's a screen space.
You're saying no to
right.
one and saying yes to another. I think there is some differentiation.
Right, commercial, residential.
And the nature of it, it's not it's not like a shear wall. Exclusively stormwater function. In this instance, I don't think we want to be involved in the maintenance of its functionality as a stormwater, but right. Also there's not much outside of gravity in this one that could go wrong. But in the event that there is something that blocks that or messes with that, it would still be the chapel team.
Because I am looking for a way to say yes to this one, just because, I do think it is a value add, but I just want to make sure that we weren't contradicting ourselves. So
the agreement in question here, is that for the blue and the purple? Can you kind of identify with your blue cursor? The red is not, right?
Red, yeah.
The red is what we're talking about.
The red is what we're talking about.
Okay. I was looking at the legend, trying to identify.
Yeah, track one. I'd have to zoom in, but then I'm probably fighting this the rest of the...
That's okay.
Track one is what we're talking about.
And I can walk through the legend a little bit for the folks who may be not able to pull it up on their screen. So the red portion is what we're talking about. The green that you see in there is what the city is already responsible for. Mm-hmm. All of the orange is what the property owners are responsible for. The blue will be the city's responsibility once we accept infrastructure. You all have just done that. And then the purple is what we anticipate being the city's responsibility in the future as we do our pedestrian improvements. So a lot of different colors on the map. What this item is really focusing on is the red area.
Red, green, and purple will be ours. Blue will be ours, but blue's going to be a road.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's going to be right away.
Yeah, and I think it's landscaped now, so with rock and high heat landscaping.
Right, exactly.
So the red, then that would be undeveloped property.
Yes, that's correct.
Because that's where the water drainage goes into. So can't develop. Can't develop in that area.
Okay.
I guess. If you fill it in, probably, but yeah. I guess my concern is kind of going back to Commissioner Unruh. We haven't done it before, for one. Does this open up where we start something, a process where, if we do approve it, that's a question.
I do think it has a value, and I think, that as far as the location and in the subdivision, I do think it has a value for practice fields, or at least a place for, people to gather. So I do think it has some value that way. And if we weren't already maintaining everything around it, I wouldn't vote for it.
The developer's here, and if you want to come up and say something about this?
Yeah, I guess, you are maintaining the one at the other end. The city's, agreed to maintain. This was apparently an oversight on our part that wasn't put in for the city to maintain on this one also.
Okay.
But you already are maintaining the one to the south end. which is probably a little bigger than that, but same type of scenario. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I move that we approve the request from Mr. Chappell and direct staff to begin maintenance of Track 1 of Chapel Heights.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second. Oh,
Commissioner Ortiz made the second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 12K, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the appointment of Jose Chan as the alternate to serve on the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency Board of Directors.
Yes, good afternoon again, Mayor and Commissioners. The City of Garden City is a member of the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency, KMEA, and serves on the KMEA Board of Directors. A certificate approved by the governing body is required to confirm who is entitled to vote on behalf of the City of Garden City. Myself, Mike Muirhead, Director of Public Works and Utilities, currently serves as a primary board member for the City of Garden City, and if approved today by the governing body, Jose Chan, Director of Electrical Operations, will serve as the alternate board member for the KMEA Board of Directors until April 30th, 2027. So your alternatives, as you may approve the appointment of Jose Chan to serve as the alternate board member on the KMEA Board of Directors until April 30th, 2027, or you may choose not to appoint Jose Chan, and staff recommendation is that you recommend Jose to serve on that, serve as the alternate as on the Board of Directors for KMEA. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mike on this? Entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make the motion to approve the appointment of Jose Chan to serve as the alternate board member on the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency Board of Directors until April 30th, 2027.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item?
How long till you'll make him run for an office with that? I'm just kidding.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Item 12L, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an appointment to the Holcomb Garden City Finney County Area Planning Commission. Dante.
The Holcomb Garden City Finney County Area Planning Commission is a 9-member board that consists of 4 Garden City members, 3 county members, 1 Holcomb member, and 1 at-large member. Deborah Euler, who has resigned at the end of this year, serves as a city member, and her term expires on December 31st, 2027. The appointment to this position must be a Garden City resident and be able to serve the remainder of the unexpired term. The following residents, in no particular order, have applied and expressed interest in serving on the Planning Commission as Garden City representatives. Attached are their applications and an updated Planning Commission member list. There are 2 alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve an appointment to the Holcomb Garden City Finney County Area Planning Commission, or the governing body may not approve an appointment to the Planning Commission and provide an alternative direction to staff. And staff recommends that the governing body appoint one of the 3 applicants to serve the remainder of the 2-year term on the Planning Commission. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
Are there any of them here or no?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I move that we appoint John Griffin as a member of the Planning Commission.
There's been a motion to appoint John Griffin on the Planning Commission. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Item 12M, the governing body is asked to consider and approve 1 appointment to the Zoo Advisory Board.
The Zoo Advisory Board is a 7-member board, has 1 member, Blair Loving, who is stepping down early. His term will end June 30th of 2026, but he is stepping down as of now. The Zoo Advisory Board received and considered 3 applications from Randy Baker, Joseph Connor, and Kelsey Cryer. They recommend the appointment of Randy Baker to fill the remainder of Blair's term. For your information, the other members of the board and their expiration terms are listed. The alternatives before you. The governing body may appoint Randy Baker to the Zoo Advisory Board. The governing body may appoint one of the other candidates to the Zoo Advisory Board. The Zoo Advisory Board recommends alternative 1. The governing body appoints Randy Baker to the Zoo Advisory Board. There is no fiscal impact by this action.
Any questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make the motion to appoint Randy Baker to the Zoo Advisory Board.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you very much.
Item 12N is an executive session. We don't anticipate any action taken following that executive session. So if we want to move on to the consent agenda, the appropriate motion, provided you don't want to pull any of those items off, would be to approve consent agenda item 13A through 13P.
I just had a question. I don't want to pull anything off. I just had a question. I know that I've heard lots of compliments on our judge, Linda Loebmeyer, and I'm just curious about how that's been working for the court and how that's been working for her, if anyone has.
Very well, from my perspective.
Yeah, really well from my perspective too. Linda and I actually get to work together here in Garden City, and then she's also the judge up in Scott City. She's also the judge in Holcomb. And I'm the city prosecutor in those 3 places.
Nice.
We have a really good relationship. Obviously, that doesn't mean I get any sort of favoritism.
Yeah, right.
She's still very difficult on me, but she does a really nice job in the courtroom, and I think both sides are happy with the way my perspective as defense attorneys and the prosecutor have been happy with the way she handles things, and Danielle can speak to the clerks.
Yeah, she works really well with the court administration team, so it's been working really well.
I've heard the operations has become so smooth, and it's just very, very well done. So I just wanted to make sure and ask for a quick report on that. Thank you.
Any other questions on this? Anyone from the public here for any of the nuisance items on the consent agenda? None being, entertain a motion on the consent agenda 13A through P.
I move to approve consent agenda items 13A through 13P.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. We'll go on to commission reports. Commissioner Landgraf.
So I just want to start saying it was a really good pre-meeting that we had talking about automation. It's really neat seeing how we currently are using automation in all the different city departments, and also planning towards the future as well. Also, just want to say it's great to be able to celebrate so many employees for their years of service. It's great. It's really great having so many employees who have been with the city for so long. I think it really speaks to the city's relationship with the employees to have so many that are being celebrated as well. I was able to attend the Youth and Governance Showcase, heard a lot of great presentations for ideas for the City of Garden City from some tremendous student leaders at the high school. All of them, I think, did amazing jobs. And also, I greatly appreciate the time and effort they put into their presentations, because they offer a unique perspective that we as city commissioners might not see. So it's really good being able to have their input. Then also was able to attend the mayor's Christmas party, and it was a tremendous time.
Commissioner Unruh.
He's pretty wild at this point. I'm just kidding. So I just want to say congratulations to everyone. Years of service, really says a lot about our city, and so I'm excited about the years of service. I do want to highlight Ronald Fry, the 30 years of service. That is quite a milestone, and I loved it that his wife and daughter were here, and so I think it's exciting just about how many people continue to make Garden City not only their place of employment, but also the best place to live in Kansas. I also want to, I was curious about this idea. I love the pre-service or the pre-meeting, we're talking about the automation, and I understand that automation is the way it's going. And I really, the one thing I really appreciated the most is that what we are doing with automation is really paying attention to customer service. And so it wasn't just about automation and basically we're giving you to an 800 number to call for anything, but more this idea that we're figuring out ways to make customer service really our number one priority. And so and that's the one thing I fear about automation is that you get shoved to something. You could be talking with AI and you would never know half the time. But the thing is that we just continue to work, and we work on customer service and making sure that people understand that we are here for them. You know, I know a lot of people, I love the response of our city staff whenever issues come up and you report them. I mean, they're really right there with phone calls, sometimes several phone calls to get everything taken care of. So I do want to say I'm excited about automation, and just with a caveat, I thank you for placing a focus on community service. I did want to say I read an interesting article about, I know Emporia got a bid for a small nuclear reactor, and I think we would be really great out here. I don't know if that's something that we would be in the running for. So, Mike, you know, over the next couple of years, you know, if that's something you can take care of. But I did think it was interesting that they did choose Emporia as a place to start that. I mean, I know they are somewhat water intensive, but I do think it would be an opportunity to, you know, further develop out here in Western Kansas and also help, with our energy needs out here. Finally, I just wanted to say there's lots of going on, lots of Christmas Eve services. I know that you could be at absolutely something every single night. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself, but also just really enjoy the season. And I encourage you to attend one of the Christmas Eve services here in town. I know people put a lot of work into those, and it's just really a great time to be with family. And with that, just Merry Christmas, and thank you for an incredible year.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Yeah, I think with a lot of new technology, the pre-meeting was pretty interesting to see all of the new technology that comes out and how it plays a role in city infrastructure. So very interesting to hear. With that, I don't know about nuclear stuff, but robotics is here already. So I'm sure like Pivot Robotics here in town, they're on the ball with getting some of those moving forward. But talking about mowers and things that can be remotely accessed is pretty cool. I kind of talked about RACR, which is remote accessing your clocks at home to reset. Mm-hmm. Like that's something we got to look into too, because my wife is always, the clocks, we have to reset the clocks now that the power went out. So if we can get that, that would help me out at home. So.
Right behind that nuclear.
Yeah, work on that. Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's very exciting to hear about though too. You know, just all of the new technology coming out. But speaking of that, I did hear that the new siren. Can you kind of talk about that, Mike, on what that capability is, and are we going to see others like that around town?
Yes, Commissioner. We have like 23 emergency sirens in town, and some of those was made in the 1950s. So in the process of changing those out, we purchased a new one. It's a state-of-the-art that has actually a voice-activated system, and I think we have 7 different recorded voices that will come out over the speaker when they're activated. So yesterday, during our normal noon test of all the sirens, it was supposed to just do the regular, noise, but it didn't, and it activated the first voice activation that said, attention, attention, attention. This is not a test. This is an actual.
Oh, wow.
Take shelter immediately. So it got, and it's located on the east side of town. So it got everybody, pretty excited, which we understand. We tried to immediately get some data out to let people know that was put out in error. And luckily the weather was nice. But yes, we intend to start replacing all of the sirens eventually with this new style. We'll put one more in 2026.
Okay.
We did apply for a grant that may come some point in time, and if that would happen, we'd put them in faster. But hopefully that answers your question.
No, that's great. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I've been getting questions on it, and so I thought, well, I'll ask Mike. He knows it all. So yeah, I think with new technology, things are happening, and I think it's for the better. So. Did attend the youth governance meeting there at the Central Cup on last Friday, and those kids, they've got amazing imagination and creation that could benefit any city. So I look forward to seeing their presentations come to life and fruition in the futures. So if there's any partnerships that we can do to kind of help them move along, I'd definitely be behind them. So they just had a lot of great ideas that were impactful, and heartfelt from their personal experience, bringing it forward from their point of view. And the struggling part for them is their language barriers. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get it out into public and presenting that information in English, so because it's not their first language, but they did a really good job. So I look forward to kind of helping in that capacity if I can in the future. Now that my term has ended, this is my last commission meeting, so it's been a great year. It's been a wonderful journey, 6 years being on the commission. So thanks to all the staff that has been putting aside their time to give us information to make us look good. It's all the city's job and the city manager's job that gets all the information to us so that we can present it, and we're well equipped to present that efficiently to the community. So thanks all around to everybody for doing that. And I look forward to my next journey. So congratulations to the new commissioners coming on, Deb Euler and Karen. So they're going to do some great jobs and carry on, the questioning that needs to happen up here in the collaboration. So I think that's one beneficial thing that I got out of it, is just asking questions, be collaborative, and then being open on discussion. So it's hard sometimes, but it's been great being up here. So thanks to everybody, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, it was a great pre-meeting, a lot of good information. One of our goals was how to automate and make things more efficient. So a lot of good information, a lot of information on kind of where we're at, but then also kind of what, how we're going to move forward with adding additional automation into our community and services. And again, like what Commissioner Unruh said, with focus on service and customer service on all of those. A lot of great information today, especially congratulations to all of the staff that have years of service. It's always good to see and promote staff, especially with years of service. Retaining employees and retaining good employees for many years is always a nice thing to have in an organization, and celebrating those years of service is really good. I couldn't make it to the youth event because I was at a state meeting, but I did hear that it was a lot of good ideas brought forward on that. A lot of this meeting was quite interesting because, like what we talked about when we were at the high school with the kids, every meeting you always do things, and we always move the community forward, and establish things and set things in motion, and that's what we did on a lot of items at this meeting as well. Anywhere from energy to housing development and everything, a little bit of everything in between. Just wanted to comment. I always comment on employments, which I did before, but over 30,000 employments. So that speaks volumes that we're really becoming, or are, the regional hub of transportation in western Kansas. Just wanted to say that I did attend the mayor's Christmas party because I'm the mayor, but great event. Also, just want to say shop local this season and fly local if you are flying local during the holidays. Again, Merry Christmas and have a happy and safe New Year. Thank you very much. And
we have an executive session. We have an executive session, and we're not going to shut down the broadcast. We're going to leave the broadcast up, but there will be a blank screen that indicates we're in executive session. And when we come back, we'll make sure that the broadcast is back on and operational. And then at that point in time, anticipate no action taken, and then the mayor, then you'll gavel out. In the meantime, the executive session that's listed on there, I think if we had 10 minutes with myself, Public Works and Utilities Director Muirhead, Deputy City Manager Burke, and City Attorney Cunningham, that would get it.
You said 10 minutes?
Yes.
I move that we move into executive session pursuant to KSA 75-4319B6 pertaining to preliminary discussions related to the acquisition of real property for 10 minutes, including City Manager Matt Allen, Director of Public Works Mike Muirhead, Deputy City Director Daniel Burke, and then City Attorney Jennifer Cunningham.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Any discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That item passed. Well.
We just move our mouth.
We're out of executive session, meeting adjourned. Oh, no binding action taken, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.